He is a journalist based in the United Arab Emirates who has worked with Boko Haram, with the Nigerian government, with the Nigerian army at different levels. Why and how did the Nigerian military suddenly come to declare these three people that have worked extensively at different times with the Nigerian army to ensure that the crisis around the Chibok girls are resolved? At what time? What happened? Why did the Nigerian government have to declare these three men wanted, having got a very strong long-term relationship with them, knowing their address, knowing their contact, knowing their location, having sat with them at different times on the same table, having a different meeting? What went wrong? What happened? These are issues we'll be taking a look at the program today. And on this show, we'll be taking a look at Boko Haram and the declared wanted suspects. How sincere is the Nigerian army? Is the Nigerian army actually sincere in their cause of defeating Boko Haram, in their cause of securing the list of the Chibok girls? Is the Nigerian army actually telling Nigerians the truth? These are issues we'll be taking a look at on the program today. I've got my guest joining me in the studio. I've got Temitope Olodo. Temitope Olodo is a preventive terrorism expert who has appeared on different international media channels talking about terrorism issues and, of course, the Boko Haram and the Chibok girls on different TV stations. Tokwe joining me on today. Good evening, Tokwe. Thanks for joining us on the program
today. Thank you very much for having me.
And also joining us is David Otto. David Otto is a TGS counter-terrorism expert who has also spoken at different times on this issue on different channels. David, thanks for joining us on the program today.
Thank you very much.
Before we continue the program, let's quickly go to the interview conducted with one of the declared wanted persons by the Nigerian army. On the very day he was declared wanted, Preventive was able to track him down in Nigeria, and we had this interview conducted. But let's quickly tell you an update over him. The information getting to us was that on Monday he had an appointment with the Nigerian army. He was asked to go home. On Tuesday, he went back to say, look, I've been looking for you guys. You guys have declared me wanted. And following different media reports saying the Nigerian army has been confused, by Tuesday when he went to report, he was detained and he's still being with them, including Mama Boko Haram. But let's quickly listen to the interview granted by television when we were able to track him down on Monday, days, just hours after he was declared wanted. We'll come back to continue the program. Don't go away. Joining us live from Nigeria is Ambassador Ahmed Bolori. You will remember that a couple of days ago, 3 men were declared wanted by the Nigerian army over the Boko Haram incident and of their linkage. One of the 3 men one of the 2 men declared wanted by the Nigerian army is joining us live now. Ambassador Bolori, good morning. Good morning.
Morning. How are you? Good morning.
Are you aware that you've been declared wanted by the Nigerian army?
Yeah, I'm not only aware, but I have even contacted them. Yesterday, I made effort in trying to see how I can reach to them. I went to the barracks. Outside the barracks, I waited for over 2 hours so that I can be able to report to them. But it seems they are not very much interested in communicating to me because they just declared me wanted without notifying me. Ideally, if you are to declare somebody wanted, since you know where the person is, it should be, communicated to the person that you are inviting him. If he denies that, or if there is any expectation that that person is going to escape, then that is when and how you will declare the person wanted. But they know my house, they know my whereabouts, they know my office, they know everything. And because of that video that was released yesterday, they want to clear the shit. The video, some of the girls say that...
Ambassador Bolori, let's get this very clear. Are you saying the Nigerian army knows everything about you? They know your whereabouts, they know your house, they know where they can get you. Is that what you're saying?
I have been in touch with them. I have worked with them. We have been proposing on how best we can go about this negotiation.
Are you saying you've been working with the Nigerian army over Boko Haram matter?
Yes, for over 1 year now.
For the last 1 year, you've been working with the Nigerian army?
Yes.
Over Boko Haram? What is your relationship? Quickly tell us. What is your relationship with the Nigerian army? Yeah. What are you working on? What were you working on before you were declared wanted?
Well, me, I am a peace ambassador. As an ambassador for peace, it is my responsibility to see how I can get every possible way to bring about peace through whatever means that is peaceful and it will not be harmful to anybody. So in that regard, I have been in touch with the Nigerian Army and some of the people who the Boko Haram people are very close to and the Boko Haram people listen to. So I made the effort of seeing how we can bring about this and bring about dialogue so that all these abducted girls, boys, women, and men will be released by the Boko Haram in a dialogue manner. So the Nigerian Army have been working together with me. We've been proposing a lot of things. We've been in touch with them, but it seems they are not very much interested in the dialogue. That was how I left them some 2 months ago. And I didn't communicate back to them since then.
So in the last 8 months, you've been working with the Nigerian Army on finding peaceful solution to how the Chibok girls could be released. In the last 8 months, 1 year.
Yes.
So what now happened between the two of you? Did they know you very well? Do you have a personal contact with the Nigerian Army? And who do you have personal contact with?
I contacted the Nigerian Army Chief of Army Staff. I also contacted the Director of Military Intelligence. You know, these are the key people.
Yes.
I contacted both of them. I sent them text messages. I called them severally. Although it was after several unanswered calls that they answered my call, and I reported to them. I said, well, General, you see, I was declared wanted without being notified.
Before you were declared wanted, prior to your being declared wanted, your relationship, who were you talking with on behalf of Boko Haram or on behalf of Nigeria government? Who in the military were you talking with to bring about peaceful solution?
The Nigerian Army, of course. The Nigerian Army.
You were having one-to-one dialogue with Nigerian Army over Boko Haram matter?
Yes.
So what now went wrong between the two of you?
Yeah, well, you know, we have been in touch on how we can bring about a dialogue. But it seems the Nigerian Army is not interested in the dialogue. What they are interested in is seeing how they can gather intelligence of the whereabouts of those Boko Haram people so that they can go and bombard them. But me, to the best of my knowledge, I don't know where they are. All I am doing is to see how I can get people who are in contact with them so that they can liaise with the military altogether.
Now, after the release of the video, you were declared wanted. Why would the Nigerian Army declare you wanted over that video? What did you do?
Yeah, you know, the Nigerian Army itself is suspicious of itself because this video is a threat to the Nigerian Army. The Nigerian Army have not been able to bring about how they can get these girls alive. And these girls were abducted for over more than 2 years now. And none of the Nigerian Army could be able to get any of these girls rescued. So this is a big slap on the face of the army. So, and now another video. In the video, if you have watched the video, in the video, some of the girls say that their fellow girls were killed by the army instead of being rescued by the army. And the video is there. The photos, pictures, and everything were there, available. So you see, it's a big slap on the army. Instead of them to rescue them, they are equally killing them. So you see, in this kind of situation, the army will be confused.
Now, when you were, why the Nigerian Army, according to you, knows you, you've been in touch with them, you've been talking over how the girls will be released in the last 1 year. So why shouldn't they invite you? Did they invite you? Did they call you to say, come and meet us? How did they suddenly declare you wanted? And after you were declared wanted, have you reached out to them? Tell us.
Yeah, that is what they should have done. They should have communicated to me. If I deny coming, that is how and when they should declare me wanted. But I reported to them. In fact, I have been making efforts in seeing how I can reach to them. They are not even picking my calls.
You mean since you were declared wanted, you've been trying to call them and they were not picking your call?
They are not picking my call, and they are not responding to my text messages.
So after you were declared wanted, you wanted to report yourself to them. You called them, they were not picking calls.
Yes.
You sent them text message, they were not responding.
Yes, until it is too late. It was about 10 o'clock at night that they got back to me. And I told them that I have been outside of the barrack gate waiting for them for over 2 hours alone.
Oh, you mean you actually went to the Nigerian barracks, the Nigerian Army barracks?
I went. I was at the gate waiting for them.
After you were declared wanted?
Security clearance.
After you were declared wanted?
After I was declared wanted.
You went to the Nigerian Army's barracks?
Yes.
Where? Which one?
The Malari barracks, which is the Army operating headquarters. It is the theater headquarters, theater command.
And for how long were you there? Did anybody come to meet you? Did they come to arrest you? For how long were you there?
I have been there for a good 2 hours by the gate, waiting for them to contact me. And I've been calling them, they are not picking. I've been texting them, they are not responding for over 2 hours. Until it is too late, that was when one of the generals contacted me and said, well, we apologize. The person who is supposed to attend to you is not even in town. He has traveled to Lagos. So, but I will get him to call you. I said, what kind of thing is this? So then the person contacted me and apologized that he is not in town, that he is in Lagos. But by the grace of God, tomorrow in the morning, by 10 o'clock, I should come back and he will direct me to meet somebody. And right now, as I'm talking to you, I'm very close to the barrack right now. And I've texted him and he has not responded.
So basically,
so now it's about
Ambassador Ahmed Bolori, you have been having a relationship with the Nigerian Army over how the Chibok girls could be released in the last 1 year. So the Nigerian Army knows you inside out. They know your house, they know where you live, they know your office.
Yes.
And they didn't come to contact you before they declared you wanted.
I'm telling you, what kind of professionalism is this? This is quackery by the army.
And even after you were declared wanted, you've been trying to reach them, but they are not picking their calls, they are not responding to your messages.
Yes.
You went to Nigerian Army barracks to report yourself, nobody was attending to you.
Yes. You see?
How would you describe the whole scenario?
Well, this is giving a clear picture of how the army is been handling all this kind of crises that have been happening. This means the army have been unprofessional, unethical, and they don't know actually how to handle things. We are peace-loving citizens, and we've been working towards peace. We've been working towards seeing how we can bring about negotiation so that all these innocent boys, girls, women, and children that have been abducted could return back home peacefully. And the war would be between the Boko Haram militants and the Nigerian army if they really want to fight. And even that, we are not interested in them fighting. We would love to see if peace can return. But we have given ourselves, we've dedicated our lives and everything to see how this dialogue can work out. But here they are, declaring us wanted as though we are their enemies.
Okay, before I let you go, quickly, I need to let you go now. Before I let you go, tell us 2 other people were declared wanted, a man and a woman. Tell us about this woman. Who is this woman that was also declared wanted?
Well, this woman is better known as the mother of the Boko Haram people. This woman has been with them right from day one for over 7 years now. She's been in contact with them. And she knows everything, and she is in contact with the Boko Haram directly. And the army is aware of that. And she happens to be a member of the committee that was constituted during President Jonathan's administration.
Oh, the woman that was declared wanted was a member of the committee set up by Jonathan.
Yes.
To find solution to the Chibok girls' problem.
Yes.
And she's been working with the Nigerian Army since then.
She's been working with the Nigerian Army, and she's been traveling all through the world. She's been to London and few other countries to see how she can be able to rescue these girls that were abducted in a peaceful manner through dialogue. So
she's very well known to Nigerian Army.
About her whereabouts, because the woman is a staff of the National Human Rights Commission of Nigeria.
Wow.
And her husband is a high court judge. You see, there is no way this woman can escape.
All right, Ambassador Ahmed Bolori, we wish you the best of luck as you try to resolve this issue with Nigerian Army. Thank you so much for talking to Ben Television. This is exclusive, the first time you'll be talking to any press, and we are the first you'll be talking to after you were declared wanted over this issue. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and it's an honor. We look forward to how this is going to be resolved at the end of the day. Probably you let us know how the matter goes after your meeting with the Nigerian Army at 10 o'clock today. All right. All right, thanks so much. And that was the interview that was granted to Ben Television by Bolori Ahmed. Just hours after he was declared wanted, we were able to track him down. The update as we speak to you now, on Monday, as you heard him, he was on his way to the Nigeria military headquarters in Maiduguri. Once he got there, he was asked to go home, that nothing was happening around him. And then after a whole lot of media bombardment, he was asked to come again on Tuesday, and then he's been with the Nigerian Army since Tuesday, detained. That's the update we've got for you. I've got this gentleman. Each of these guests in my studio, especially David, has worked extensively with most of these guys on this matter, following their profession as counterterrorism, and they've also visited Borno, the hotbeds of the crisis. So they know some of these guys very well. And so I've got my guest, Temitope Olodo. Thank you for joining us once again. And then I've got David. David,
thank you very much.
David, let me start with you. How well do you know Ahmed Bolori, who has just spoken to us and declared wanted by the Nigerian Army? How well do you know him?
This is very intriguing, because listening to what Mr. Bolori has been saying. When we visited, northern Nigeria in Borno State, one of the people that we met, who is a civil society activist, is Ambassador Ahmed Bolori, who has been working within community organizations. He has been working with interfaith organizations. He's been working with adult literacy programs. I had an extensive interview with Barrister Ahmed Bolori, where he has been very instrumental in looking at some of the solutions that the government can implement in terms of this radicalization, but more importantly, how there can be a dialogue solution to this problem of Boko Haram. So it's somebody that we've had an extensive relationship with in terms of his civil society organizations. As a matter of fact, he at the moment he runs the Fash Foundation for the Needy, which looks at young children, who have been left in the streets, who are vulnerable to radicalization by Boko Haram groups. So this is an individual who has had, and I keep saying to people that 99% of the people in northern Nigeria, in Borno State, have what you call a pre-existing relationship with either a member of Boko Haram or somebody who has been killed by Boko Haram, because of the extensive catastrophe that Boko Haram has inflicted in northern Nigeria. So Ambassador Bolori happens to be one of those individuals who hasn't just sat down with his relationship that he had with some of these members, even before they became violent. He has been at the forefront and looking at, how, this issue can be resolved peacefully. Remember, the government has been fighting this organization since 2009, and I'm talking about using military force. This organization has been existing since 2000. So Ahmed Bolori is somebody who has been on the ground. He took us to different areas, to IDP camps. He took us to meet interfaith organizations. He took us even to the Shehus Palace of Borno, and we met the Civilian Joint Task Force. This is someone who is on the ground dealing with the issues, to ensure that there is a solution to this problem. It was very shocking. The thing is, human beings are not transcendental. You can't see through them. But it was shocking when I heard that Ahmed Bolori has been declared wanted. This is somebody whom I know for sure that has a relationship with the government, because when we went
to with the Nigerian Army,
with the Nigerian government and the Nigerian Army, because when we went to know the Nigerian
relationship.
When I say relationship, because he's been invited by not just the army, but he's been to Abuja to meet the current administration. He's also known by the governor of Borno State. He's somebody who is known. They have one of the biggest family, the Bolori family, in northern Nigeria and in Maiduguri, for instance. So he's except there are things which we cannot really say, but to say that he has information which he does not want to release, I see him as an individual who is part of the solution but not part of the problem. So I'm sure that the military, what the military is doing, or what they have done, is going to be productive. I don't see this as a counterproductive strategy. Maybe him declaring him wanted, is going to yield a positive fruit in the sense that he could become part of the solution, as he's always wanted to be. Because by the way, each and every one of us wants to see the release of the Chibok girls. And I'm sure that if Ahmed Bolori has any information that will lead to the release of the Chibok girls, then I'm sure he's going to provide that, you know, to the government.
I mean, you guys have been working together. I don't know how well you know Bolori, but from what you've heard Bolori himself say,
Yes.
from what you've heard David say, I mean, with his relationship with Bolori, he's having got that level of relationship with an individual, with a man at the top hierarchy of the Nigeria military, even at the topmost level of the Nigerian government and the state government. This is an individual that is very well known as a middleman between the government, the army, and the problem, Boko Haram, and suddenly declaring him wanted. Do you agree with David that it's a way forward, it's a step forward, and it's probably a start of a solution to the problem? Declaring such a man wanted, according to Bolori, he was never invited, he was never contacted, they know his house, they know his contact, they know his family, they know his office. He was just declared wanted.
I will have agreed with my brother that it's a positive step, but it's only a positive step if the people involved are professionals, and I say that with all humility, because I know of individuals, which I can't mention their case, who have been involved with the Nigerian government, with certain security agencies, and when they were picked up for things which they should not be picked up for, they behave as if they've never known them before. And that's exactly what we've had with regard to this particular incident, where this is an individual that you have his number, you know him. I've been to the villa, I've met with security agencies, I've been to Borno, I went to the biggest IDP camp there. I met with government officials, I spoke with them, I met with security agencies. But for people to declare somebody wanted, that person must be someone that is not on the radar, somebody that you can't talk to, that you can't find, you'll be trying to contact him. But when you have somebody's number and the person is calling the chief of army staff and calling the head of intelligence, and you're declaring such a person wanted, it reads in different ways. One, it reads that you are not professional enough, and two, it shows that your left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. And I honestly believe, and I've been saying this for many times, that the military are working beyond their pay grade. In other words, they are working outside their area of competence, because the military are not meant to be working on kidnapping or adoption cases. I feel a special task force headed by the police, supported by the military elite unit, should be the one handling this issue. Because if it's the police that invited this individual, they have the proper structure. Any police station that he walks into, even as much as we have a third rated police service, they will have arrested him if they wanted to arrest him at any police station he walks in across Nigeria. They will have called the headquarters and said this guy had come in to report himself and dealt with it. For somebody to sit outside a military barrack for 2 hours and nobody within that barrack will come outside to speak to him and say, okay, the head of this unit that is responsible for this issue is not there. So are you telling me that there's only one man in one unit dealing with this issue? There are no majors, there are no captains, there are no sergeants. What is Nigerian Army turning into? This is a killing machine that is well respected around the world, and they're ridiculing themselves with the way and protocol that they approach, they are adopting.
Okay, all right. David.
Yes.
Do you see this? I mean, you said probably this could be some positive steps. From what Tokwe has said, I mean, these guys suddenly, these are people who have been meeting with you, who have been whining and dining with you. You have been knocking on their doors, it will open. You've been going in and out with them. Suddenly they declare you wanted. And I mean, if you go by what these people all of a sudden could just turn around to say, they just start acting as if they have never known you all their life, and they'll start treating you like that. Do you foresee a situation where the Nigerian Army, I mean, looking at the different human rights reports that have been heard of the Nigerian Army, do you foresee a situation where the Nigerian Army could descend heavily, behave as if they have never met, known, dealt with these suspects? Bear in mind that these guys have been working with them in the past. Do you foresee that?
I think one of the important points, which I think I should make, is that when a government draws a very huge line of demarcation between its fighting men, or I'm calling them its soldiers, and its thinking men, then it risks its wars being fought by fools, and its decisions being made by cowards. Ahmed Bolori is somebody who has been in contact with the Nigerian Army, and as he said, in the video, for the past 2 months, he hasn't been. So let's look at the context. There has been a video which has been released by Boko Haram, and in that video, they've specifically mentioned that, they would negotiate with the government in exchange of the Chibok girls with some of their members. But then they would only negotiate with specific individuals. So these are people that
that are known to the government.
And that are known to the group. So these are people that have a pre-existing relationship
with the group and with the government.
And the government. So that leads us to the 3 individuals who have been put into context. So that is, Ambassador Bolori, who is one of them that we've spoken to, Barrister Aisha Wakil, and Ahmed Salkida, who is the one who actually released, the recent video on his Twitter account. So this is the context, that the government is looking at. So the government is saying, if Boko Haram, if the new group of Boko Haram is saying, we want to negotiate, with the government, but we can only use this particular journalist that we know, then that is in reference to these 3 individuals. So the government, because they have not been in touch with Ahmed Bolori and Barrister Aisha Wakil in the past 3 months, now are probably thinking of, how do we get in contact with them? So there may have been a procedural error in the sense that, they've been declared wanted, instead of saying, inviting them to come on the table and say, okay, why are these journalists or these terrorists indirectly referring to you or anyone else? So that is why I think it could still be a joy at the end, because, then maybe the military might turn up and say, well, now, you guys have the information, or what kind of information do you have? But there is a risk of disloyalty because, when individuals have a pre-existing relationship with non-state groups, there are rules and regulations in how to deal with non-state groups, So to have people who have loyalty that are trusted by the non-state groups and people that are trusted by the government is very important, So I think looking at this, people like Mama Boko Haram, who has been dealing with Boko Haram since, the early 2000s, even before they became violent, Ahmed Bolori recently, and Ahmed Salkida, who has been a journalist, working with the group even before the group became violent. So I think, this declaration of them being wanted, I see it as a positive thing. I don't necessarily see it. I know there has been an overwhelming criticism of, why the army declared them wanted, which is wrong.
Why do you say positive stuff?
In the sense that, yes.
Are these guys not likely to lose confidence in the Nigerian government or the Nigerian army? On the eventual release,
yes.
Will Boko Haram still be able to trust these guys? Because Boko Haram will not be able to determine what these guys have told the government.
That is the good news.
And the government,
yes.
These guys probably may have not told the government anything.
Yes.
The Boko Haram will be suspicious. No. The government will be suspicious.
Let me make that point. Let me just make that point. Let me just come to the point. That is the key point. If Boko Haram hears that these guys have been declared wanted because they have information which they have not given to the government, yes, and they've been picked up, that gives Boko Haram the trust that whatever information they've given to these guys, they've kept it close to their chest. So it gives them that comfort that, these people that we've trusted.
Release of this guy, will Boko Haram still be able to trust this guy? Like, we don't know what you've gone to tell the government.
They will trust them because they've trusted them for the past, Mama Boko Haram has been there for the past 10 years.
They have never been declared wanted.
They have. Well, Barrister Aisha Wakil has been arrested so many times by the Nigerian Army and the Nigerian government. She's been released, so yes.
I think there's something else that we need to understand about the dynamic of Nigerian politics. And being a student of politics, I understand how this works. Some of the things that the video reveals, which is a very serious indictment of people that have claimed that they've worked with Boko Haram. These individuals are saying, nobody has worked for us, we are not engaging with any of those people that claim to be working with us, we only talk to journalists. In other words, everybody knows that a journalist is somebody that is unbiased, that is neutral, because there's no monetary desire in them. They're just doing their profession that they love so much. Now, the individuals who have been indicted by the Boko Haram are not going to be sitting down and saying, oh yes, bring it on, we're happy with it. So some of this interplay that we're seeing might actually have been triggered by some of these individuals. I don't know who they are, but one of the things that Nigerian people need to be asking the Nigerian government now is, who are these individuals who have been claiming for the past 2 years to be negotiating on behalf of, Boko Haram and the Chibok girl and Boko Haram and Nigerian government for the Chibok girls? Who are they? Let them come out. How much have you given them? Because you remember, politicians have come out, and even from the presidency, they said that many people have come out that they want to give information or help, but they've only been interested in the monetary aspect of this thing. So we know now that what Boko Haram is saying and what the government is saying is actually aligned. Because the government has said most people that have been coming out have been requesting for money, and Boko Haram are now saying that the people that have been saying they are negotiating on their behalf are not negotiating on their behalf. So that means that those people should be arrested, because they should be asking them, who are your contacts that made you make you have that much confidence to come to approach the federal government. But the other issue here is that there are a lot of issues to do with how the military is handling this issue. And I think what the Nigerian people need to be demanding at this moment, this critical moment, because this is a critical moment, is that we want a change in the strategy. And the change in strategy, even the Boso local government crisis, where the military, some military personnel were killed and the military destroyed some places. The recommendation from the chair that handled that commission said the military should be removed from getting involved in internal issues. And these are things that we've been calling for a long time, that this military involvement in internal issues should be reduced. The Nigerian police should be empowered to do what they've been trained to do. There are so many detectives in Nigeria who are responsible for dealing with anti-kidnapping and things like that. Bring them on board. Bring psychologists. Bring all these individuals that know about this thing. What the military know about is raiding a place, handling this kind of issues, hostage handling, but not to be doing investigation. How many times have you had? There was a sitting senator, I think a legislator, that said that he got a phone call that one of the Chibok girls had been married out. This also aligns with what the Boko Haram people are saying now, that 40 of the girls have been married out in Chad. Now, if a sitting senator said somebody was in Chad, has Nigerian government sent anybody, or the Nigerian police or the Nigerian military sent anybody to Chad, liaising with our embassy there to find out where that girl is? No. We don't know about it. Have they set up, do they have a team looking into all the stories that were in the newspaper about where these girls were? No, we don't know anything. And when somebody comes up with a video, you then arrest them and declare them enemy of the state. That is not the right way of handling this issue.
No, so you're very correct there. Yeah. But one of the things which we have to also understand is, when it comes to negotiating between non-state groups, which are like a group like Boko Haram and the government, you need people with pre-existing relationships. Now, if you want to arrest, everybody, because the army is not in charge of fighting this kind of war with Boko Haram.
That's true.
It's not a conventional war. True. So it's a war that is fought within the communities.
Yeah.
So you need people who have that link, or who had links before even the crisis began, to be able to intervene. And these three particular individuals, I mentioned them because, I know their background and I've met them. Ahmed Salkida is the one I haven't met, because, Ahmed Salkida, he left Nigeria and went to United Arab Emirates because, his life was in danger. Yeah. He was the first individual who negotiated, with Stephen Davis and Barrister Aisha Wakil, for the first release of the Chibok girls. So these are people who the government is aware of. And these are people, as I said before, they've had a pre-existing relationship with the government. The military does not have the capability to look at issues of investigation and issues of intelligence. We have a lot of foreign
But what's the purpose of the intelligence department of the Nigerian Army?
Yes, that's what I was coming to that, because the intelligence and surveillance department, we've had a lot of foreign helps from different countries abroad coming saying we will help Nigeria to provide intelligence and surveillance, we'll train their army, but we still haven't seen any of the report cards in terms of, what have they done with the intelligence and the surveillance. So we're still waiting for them to show us what they've done. Now, the Nigerian army does not have that capability at the moment to deal with, this kind of investigation, because they are overstretched. So I think it's very important for them to have people within the communities, a community-based strategy that they can approach some of these individuals.
If they are now picking up people in the community who have been working with them in the past and declaring them enemy of the state, will the community be able to trust the Nigerian government, the Nigerian Army coming forward to say, look, let's sort this out.
Of course, they won't be able to.
In fact, let's even look at it from a different perspective. Yes. The Terrorism Act of 2011 that we're looking at, does the military actually has the legal backing to declare anybody wanted in a democratic setting? You know, I'm not against the military. I love the military. They know I love them.
Well, they have a state of emergency, so I think they do have.
What state of emergency do they have?
In the north, you know. So
no, that state of emergency is another issue because we know that these guys are not in that area. We know that the state of emergency needs to be renewed by the National Assembly. We've not had anything about the state of emergency being renewed under President Amb.Ahmed Bolori. So that is an issue because we know it's the NSA that actually has that power under the Terrorism Act of 2011. So there are a lot of questions. In a democratic setting, is the Inspector General of Police who should be declaring anybody wanted. It should be the one, even when the issue of the incident in Kaduna, Kaduna State, where the military killed a lot of people in Zaria, you know. It should be the police that should be investigating.
In advanced world, like countries like USA, I think the FBI or the CIA will be the one declaring people wanted.
Of course.
In the UK, maybe Met or MI5 or MI6.
But they work together.
Yeah, because before even we drift towards comparative strategy, looking at different Western countries, the current administration, the federal government and the military has been doing extremely well in terms of their military campaign.
Are you sure of that?
Now the problem is the military campaign has an extent that it can go. Now at this point in time in northern Nigeria, you need a community-based strategy, and you can only implement a community-based strategy by using powerful members within the communities who have pre-existing relationships with some of these members of Boko Haram in order for you to come to a state of dialogue, if you want to dialogue, because the Nigerian government has accepted that we are looking into dialoguing. We are happy to dialogue if we have the right people to dialogue to, if we know who we are talking to. And this for me seems to be an opportunity for them to look at a transparent system of dialogue, put in place by individuals who have a pre-existing relationship.
Has the Nigerian Army not thwarted that opportunity by declaring people who have been in the forefront of resolving this crisis as enemy of the state?
Of course, they might have, because one of the things which you have to also understand, in terms of the benefit and the interest. In some countries we've seen, some of the military do not want to see see some of this insurgency go because they benefit from it. So there are certain circumstances whereby, when a solution is coming on board, people thwart it for their own individual reasons. It's possible.
The question I want to ask you is this: I mean, that video seems to have triggered something in the Nigerian Army and the Nigerian government. The release of that video, far from what Boko Haram will do, just upload it. That video was sent to media houses in Nigeria and international, and which trigger, and that video seemed to have blown open certain things that ordinarily maybe Mr. President or Mr. Vice President or the Security Council were probably not aware of, in terms of who they claim they've been have been acting on behalf of the government and Boko Haram, or in terms of the level of attack on Boko Haram, or in terms of the level of success declared by Boko Haram. How much damage did that video do to the ego of the Nigerian Army that will have made them declare as enemy of state people who have been working with them?
Yeah, it has done a lot of damage. It's all about the narrative, and it's about counter-narrative. The counter-narrative from the Boko Haram sect is, we have these girls, we're in control of them. You can't grab them away from us, because where we are, you have no knowledge of where we are. Not only that alone, you are the one responsible for the death of these girls that you are meant to be saving. You can save them by giving us our people who you're holding in different areas. And this video aligns with the other previous videos that have been coming out from this group. So the video from the CNN, which all the individuals, all the girls in there have been identified, as part of the Chibok girls. And now this video, you could see the girls there. You could see these girls speaking in the dialect and confirming that the military is actually responsible for the death of some of their friends. Okay, they're casualty of war. That is the situation. But I think we also need to go back to what this gentleman said to you when he was speaking to you. He said it seems as if the military is only interested in knowing where the Boko Haram people are, so that they could go there and bombard them. And these more
that's probably why those guys have been picked up now. Look, you've been interfacing with them. You certainly know where they are. Give us information about where they are.
And these are very simple things. If you look at it from a technological perspective, what number do they call you on? If you get a number or you're able to hold these guys to get them to call, you could use satellite imageries and things like that to be able to find out where these people are. But is it about killing these people, or is it about making sure that you ensure peace and safety in Nigeria? Because the bottom line is that we've been talking about de-radicalization and bringing these people back and containing these people. But how many people has Nigerian government been able to de-radicalize? We don't have any figure. How much have they spent? Billions or millions?
Okay.
And we don't know what is
David,
yes.
There are two groups
yes.
of Boko Haram.
Yeah.
This video actually have come to confirm that the other group is a counterfeit.
Yes.
And that this other group that released the video is the original group. Is it possible that the Nigerian Army and certain individuals within the community and government have been using this other fake group to swindle the government, to pass the wrong information to the government, and pass wrong information to the Nigerian people? Now, this other video now has actually blown up the lies of the other group and of the other party. Could that have actually been why there has been a kind of... And Mr. President said, look,
you told us
things are moving in the right direction. Things are moving in the right direction. But what we've seen in this latest video did not show things are... So who are these other groups that you have been engaged with?
I think one of the things we have to understand is, if we believe any of the videos, in the first place, because, yes, Boko Haram...
That video, you cannot fault that video.
No, let me tell you, because Boko Haram, which was known as the Islamic State of West African Province, was split by ISIL itself, because ISIL declared, demoted Abubakar Shekau to only control Boko Haram in Nigeria. And they made Abu Musab al-Banawi the leader of the Islamic State of West African Province. So at that point in time, Shekau's faction comes up with a video to say, we have most of the girls. And in that video, they say that, the government cannot find where the girls are. In the same video, they say that the government has bombarded some of the girls. So that tells us that the government knows where the girls are. So there is a possibility that the government is getting too close to them, or the military or the air force is getting too close to them in such a way that they are feeling the heat, and they come up with the video to say, oh, these are the girls, in order to get the military to withdraw from striking. So you have to take that into consideration. Secondly, the video could be a strategy by Shekau to show the world, and most importantly, the Islamic State, that he has control of the girls, and that despite the fact that he's been dethroned, he still has control of the girls. And also to assure some of his militants, because mind you, about 8 of his top commanders have been taken away by Abu Musab al-Banawi, who is the son of Mohammed Yusuf. So I think, this video has to be looked at from different perspectives, depending on which angle you want to look at it from. Because he says in the video, I want to negotiate. But, at the same time, in April 2014, they came up with this guy called, I think he called himself, I've forgotten his name, I think Daudu, Mohammed Daudu. He came up and said, the president of Chad came and of Chad said, Mohammed Daudu was the new leader of Boko Haram, and Boko Haram was ready to negotiate. A week after, Shekau came and said that was a lie. So they've had this consistency of coming up. Last time, 3 months ago, they came up with a video with 15 girls, which was released by CNN. And they came up and said they wanted to negotiate. That story disappeared in the media after a week. This story is also going to disappear in the media after a week. So what we should look at, is how should the government approach this? Is this a strategy by Boko Haram to get the government to relax? and stop their efforts of bombing them because they've been targeting the girls or targeting where these people are, and they're saying, oh, if we show the girls, because there is a huge hashtag of the Chibok girls, the international media would run riots, and call on the government, to rescue the Chibok girls, thereby stopping the military from doing what they have been doing. So we have to look at it from different perspectives, depending of if this video is genuine.
I think it's important to understand for many of us that are in this world of counterterrorism and dealing with this thing at a practical level, that in every counterterrorism group or in every of these terrorist cells, there will always be splits. I just came back from Borno. I was there, about less than 2 weeks ago, and I met with all the commanders, in the civilian JTF, who are controlling over 26,000 people that are working for them. And many of their members have been killed, and the government is talking about Operation Safe Corridor to bring these people back. And they're a bit worried because these are people that they know that are their neighbors that have killed their brothers or killed their sisters or killed their aunties. This is real life. This is not just theory anymore.
Of course.
This is practical. And we need to understand that whichever way you're looking at it, Nigerian government need to completely review the counter-terrorism strategy that is being deployed at the moment, because there is a big difference between what they are telling the people out here and what is really happening. It's not the way it is, and they need to revisit what they're doing. Otherwise, these girls, the little ones that are left, because if you minus 40 from the ones that have been killed, the ones that are left now, we need to be very careful that nothing happens to them. And their blood will be on those people who are not making the right decision.
All right, let's go on a very short break now. Let's quickly take a short break. When we take a short break, we'll open the phone line, if we can, for a few minutes to pick up your calls. Don't go, just a short break, we'll be back.
To discover who you really are.
It's not trouble.
A woman with a bright prize on her head, pregnant for the crown prince.
You can work through this. My request is word. Drop yours. Do you have any cutlery?
Bavidi Luxury Hotel, the newest home away from home in the Nigerian hospitality industry. 10 minutes only from the local and international airports. It's the perfect spot for your relaxation whenever you are in Lagos. 24-hour non-stop electricity, cozy and colorful rooms, Wi-Fi internet connection, and flat screen cable television. Bavidi Luxury Hotel. Our exquisite restaurant and full bar are simply second to none in taste and style. Bavidi Luxury Hotel. We are located at the posh, serene neighborhood in the Keja Business District. Your satisfaction is our first concern, so we train our staff to be professional and personable. Bavidi Luxury Hotel, number 20 Moshood Abiola Crescent, Ikeja, Lagos. Telephone +234 1291 7929 +234 708 287 7512. Bavidi Luxury Hotel, the new home away from home.
Let's open the phone line. Let's see if we can take one or two calls, and then we bring the program to a close on the program today. Okay, guys. So, what is the way forward? Topper, let me start with you.
Okay.
What is the way forward in this matter? Now, we've got people who have been working with the government, trusted by Boko Haram, trusted by the Nigerian Army, trusted by the Nigerian government, suddenly declared enemy of the state. What is the way forward in this matter?
My suggestion to the Nigerian government and to the leadership of the military is that they should slow down, take a big breath, and not charge these guys with their threat of terrorism, trying them under Terrorism Act. They should try and avoid that. Sit down and find out what these individuals could do to assist, and then call on many Nigerians who have different expertise that could provide a new roadmap on how to move things forward. But more importantly, I'm calling on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is responsible for every Nigerian, to set up a new task force to deal with this thing, headed by the Nigerian police, supported by the military. I think the military have done enough, and they should concentrate on dealing with Niger Delta Avengers, the Fulani Herdsman, and the issue of Boko Haram mopping up. I think they should be removed completely from actually working on the Chibok girls issue because they don't have the skill set to deal with it.
All right. The Nigerian government has insisted that they will not release any of the, they will not engage in exchange of release of prisoners. Is it out of tune to have government releasing, exchanging prisoners? Has it never been done before, where you have armed groups say, release our members, and they will get you what you want? It has happened even in America.
Yes, I mean, we've had...
why is the Nigerian government saying they cannot do that?
I think you have to look, we have to look at the context of which we're talking about. We're talking about a Salafist jihadist organization like Boko Haram, which who has members who are not, afraid to die. They're prepared to kill at any time. So this is different from a nationalist organization that is looking for independence. So those ones you can talk to them because they have a political ambition.
I'm sorry, but I need to cut you short at this time because I need to call out the program.
Okay, thanks.
We're going to have to continue this at some other time. I'm going to have. Okay. Let's look how this is unfolding, yes. And then I'm going to have to bring you guys back again. We'll look at it. Hopefully, by the end of the week, we'll see where the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian government is going with these guys that have been declared wanted and arrested. Gentlemen, thanks for being part of the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Olodo,
my pleasure.
Thank you for joining us. My name is Tunde Alabi. It's been a pleasure having you join us on the program. Enjoy the rest of your night.